Hello and welcome. You're watching UTV Live at 6.
Good evening. These are the stories making the headlines.
Charity set up in murdered show jumper Katie Simpson's name reveals it's already looking into 2 other deaths within hours of being launched.
It's fertile ground for this to happen again and again and again, and we have to be alive to this as a society.
Man who lost partner to skin cancer urges greater awareness as new figures show almost 7,000 people red flagged on the waiting list. Also tonight, we're at the rural family-run dog park outside Moira under threat after fears from planners around noise from people talking and laughing.
And it looks set to stay rather unsettled this weekend with further outbreaks of heavy rain at times. I'll have all of the details later in the programme.
Her murder was made to look like a suicide in 2020. Today, a charity set up in memory of Katie Simpson was officially launched, and already families who have concerns about their loved ones' deaths have asked for help.
The talented show jumper's family believe the charity will be life-changing for many and ensure families get the answers they need, as Sarah O'Kane reports.
The Katie Trust officially launched today, and already it's looking into 2 deaths because their families believe something isn't right.
The shocking thing about these families that I am trying to help, they were put to me by police officers. And police officers who felt they could not go internally to get the answers for these families. And one of those officers that came to me was from a major investigation team.
The charity's been set up to investigate a death that has been treated by police as a suicide, disappearance or accident, but there are still questions over what happened.
Only a day in and people are reaching out. Like, it goes to show you already what the charity is about, but also maybe it's so sad that there is a demand for it, but now people have an avenue to go down and it'll be life-changing for families, it'll really help them.
The man charged with Katie's murder, Jonathan Creswell, tried to make the 21-year-old show jumper's death look like suicide. He nearly got away with it because police at the time believed him. The police ombudsman found the initial investigation was flawed and failed the Simpson family.
When you looked at the Katie Simpson case at the outset, she was a semi-naked girl, covered in bruises, in a passenger seat of a car, and the driver says she's hung herself. It's not rocket science, this. It's just answering the basic questions. Northern Ireland has the highest rate of domestic murders in Western Europe. You have the growth of hidden homicides, the reduction in the police numbers and the reduction in the police budget. It's fertile ground for this to happen again and again and again, and we have to be alive to this as a society, and this charity will step in to help families when their questions aren't being answered.
And I think as well, Katie was a very strong-willed character, so this charity will give families strength. So I think that'll come from it.
At this stage, the charity is being self-funded with the hope of securing money from the Department of Justice. Sarah O'Kane, UTV Live.
A man from County Londonderry who lost his partner to skin cancer has urged people to be safe in the sun. As new figures reveal, almost 7,000 people here are on a waiting list with a red flag or urgent referrals.
The increased waiting times, more and more people have been turning to private healthcare, as Niamh McMullen has been finding out.
Yes, make some noise for Fiona!
Fiona was so caring, loved her friend group, loved partying, loved everything about life really, and someone who just gave love as if it was bottomless really.
Fiona was just 30 when she received a skin cancer diagnosis, alerted by a change in a mole. After intense chemotherapy, she was given the all clear, but 3 years later, after battling unexplained bruising and excruciating pains, Fiona and her family received the news that the cancer had returned, but this time it was terminal.
She rang me and asked me to come to the hospital, and when I went through the door, she just said sorry. And what do you say? And we hugged, and that moment was just, I can see her now lying in the bed, it was just devastating.
Although skin cancer is the most common cancer in Northern Ireland, Gary believes people don't realise the risks associated with not taking care of your skin.
I remember one conversation I had with a lady and she was like, oh, skin cancer, that's okay then. And that was what she said. And I was like, that's not okay because it's cancer regardless.
While days like these are rare in Northern Ireland, holidaymakers often use sunbeds to build a tan before trips. So common, Belfast has been labelled sunbed capital of the UK.
It does increase your risk of skin cancer. The evidence is there to say that. And especially if you use it before the age of 35, there's a 20% increase or 20% increase in risk from melanoma.
UTV have been told there are almost 7,000 people in Northern Ireland on the suspected skin cancer waiting list with red flag or urgent referrals. Now, due to increased waiting times, patients are turning to private healthcare to access services more quickly.
It is potentially fatal, and I don't want to sound like an alarmist, but you know, whenever you're having to break news to a 20-year-old that they've got skin cancer, it's very distressing. Use your sunscreen, use your protective clothing methods.
After losing Fiona in January last year, that's also a message that Gary says he will spread for the rest of his life.
We had all our life together to lead and we had plans and everything else that young couples do. And I guess that if anyone's watching and have issues with or even thoughts that something may not be right, it really is just to take yourself seriously, get seen.
Gary Devaney ending that report by Niamh McMullen. Now, with the announcement of the change to the voting age to 16 across the UK, there's still lots of questions as to how exactly it will work. I'm joined by John Tong, Professor of Politics at the University of Liverpool, who's been looking into this. Professor Tong, how many people will this add to the electoral register here in Northern Ireland?
This will add about 50,000 to the electoral register. That's about 3% of the total register. So it's a significant change. It's the biggest change we've seen in more than half a century, the biggest change since the last time the voting age was lowered at the end of the 1960s.
And how long will this take to come into force?
Well, Sinn Féin want it to be in place for the 2027 Assembly election, but there was no indication from the government yesterday that this will take place before the next Westminster election. And I think that is the likelier of the two scenarios.
And given different political parties have different demographics that vote for them, how could this change impact voting patterns here?
Well, this isn't a game changer, but it is important because the majority of young people in Northern Ireland these days are from a Catholic background. For every 2 Protestants, there are 3 Catholics if you look at those under 18 in Northern Ireland. And so with all the usual health warnings that not every Catholic is a nationalist and not every Protestant is a unionist, and there are plenty of those who are neither unionist nor nationalist, nonetheless, you know, this is potentially at least a small boost for those who want to see a border poll and a united Ireland. It will add more to their numbers than it will the other side. It's certainly not a perfect split. If you look at the party split, the Ulster Unionist Party, of course, is in favour of votes at 16. But overall, you can say this will offer a slight benefit for nationalist parties and a slight benefit for those in favour of a united Ireland.
Brief, but always very informative. There we'll leave it. Professor John Tong, thank you.
Police are at the scene of a serious road traffic collision on the Newry Road and Mayo Bridge. It is closed at the junction of Ryan Road. Police are advising people to avoid the area.
Irish rap group Kneecap will face no further action following an investigation into their performance at Glastonbury. Avon and Somerset police looked into comments about a forthcoming court case made during the festival last month. The force said there is insufficient evidence to provide a realistic prospect of conviction for any offence. Ruth, a family-run dog park in Moira is under threat of closure due to noise concerns. That's despite the company saying it's never once received a complaint.
The Planning Appeals Commission dismissed a plea by the park's owners stating that any noise could have an impact on local residents and that that isn't even down to any dogs. Here's our South East reporter, Stuart Robson.
Little else excites a dog more than chasing a ball. Add to that a friend to play with.
You're an agility dog, you know it.
In a big field where speed limits don't exist. It's thirsty work at this rural adventure park outside Moira, a family-run project that now finds itself at risk of closure. Planning chiefs have ruled that noise complaints could have an impact on local residents, a decision its owners can't fathom.
We've never ever had a substantiated noise complaint in the 2021, that's 4 years. We limit the dogs to 6, we limit our cars coming to 4, we limit our hours. We can't really do much more.
So why has the Planning Appeals Commission made the ruling? Well, it's not down to the bark of Blue, Sebastian or Ruby. The Commissioner is concerned about talking and laughing from dog owners. This park appears to be much more than for just the benefit of dogs alone.
What if somewhere like this was lost? What would that mean for Ruby?
Well, I think I'd go a bit stir crazy, you know. It is just about getting her out and getting that, as I say, getting that energy out of her. You know, even for socialisation, as I say, you know, I can book this and say to a couple of friends that I have that I know have dogs, let's meet up and let's do that. Whereas, you know, if some places like this didn't exist, you wouldn't have that option.
How much money has this cost you so far going through this whole process?
Ooh, this application alone would be about £7,500. The Planning Appeals Commission would have been another, say, £6,000. That's a lot of money for a small business to defend something that's not an issue. People come out here for peace and quiet.
UTV approached Armagh, Banbridge and Craigavon Borough Council for a response. A spokesperson said that no noise impact assessment was presented by the owners and that the PAC determined that noise could cause disturbance on the amenity of those residents living off the lane. They added that an amended application is currently at validation stage. The Planning Appeals Commission is yet to send us a response. For now, dogs here can roam free, but it's unsure for how much longer. Stuart Robson, UTV Live, Moira.
Now, Rory McIlroy has said he's excited for the weekend after progressing to the third round of golf's Open Championship. He's likely to be joined by 2019 champion Shane Lowry, but it's not looking good for some of our other local players.
Our sports correspondent Ruth Gorman has spent the day at Royal Portrush and she joins us live from the course. Ruth.
Yes, thanks, Sarah. It's good news for Rory McIlroy fans because he will be here this weekend. If you're coming up to see him, you will get a glimpse of the Grand Slam champion. Of course, famously, he missed the cut in 2019, but he's right in the mix. He's on 3 under, which is 6 shots off the lead currently, and he's excited to be here. He shot the course record here of 61 almost 20 years ago to the day, and he told me after his round today that to be here and in with a chance of winning the Claret Jug on Sunday means so much to him.
Rory fever continued today at the Open Championship at Royal Portrush. It was another hero's welcome for our Grand Slam champion this morning. In fact, if you didn't have a good seat or shoulder, it was hard to get a glimpse of Rory McIlroy. He spoke last night about the love he felt from the fans, and it was there in spades again today.
Go Roy!
It was the perfect start for the 2014 Open champion, and he saved a par on the second hole after taking a dropped shot. The challenges continued, but a brilliant birdie on the fourth sent him back to 2 under. A second bogey of the day followed on the next hole, and he reached the turn on 1 under par. The fans continued to show him love, and the roars continued as more birdies followed on the back 9.
Rory, you said in 2019 that you felt like you let the fans down by not making the cut. What does it mean to you to be here in front of people who have followed you your whole career?
Yeah, I think I let myself down more than I let the fans down, but I definitely felt like, yeah, it was, yeah, I mean, it was a hard pill to swallow, but at the same time, I left myself too much to do. And then this time, yeah, like I think I've gotten better. I know what I need to do to get the best out of myself in an environment like that. You know, I've been somewhat close to my best over the first 2 days in little bits here and there. You know, I'm gonna need to have it all under control and have it sort of all firing over the weekend to make a run. But yeah, it's incredible to play in front of these fans. Yeah, it was 20 years ago that I played the North of Ireland here, and never in my wildest dreams did I think that I'd be coming back as a Grand Slam champion with the support of a nation behind me trying to win an Open Championship. So count myself very grateful and very lucky that I'm in this position, and I'm excited for the weekend.
Brilliant.
And it looks like Rory and Shane Lowry may be the only two Irish hopefuls this weekend, as Padraig Harrington, Darren Clarke and Tom McKibben all look likely to miss the cut.
I used to call it just a few years. So they're stupid mistakes that, looking back, I wouldn't really hit. The shot was fine, just sort of missed in the wrong spot or got the club slightly wrong. So overall, I think I actually played quite nicely, just a few silly mistakes. That's what's probably most annoying. I feel like I actually played, this is probably the best I've played out of them all. And just so many stupid errors, just pins at the back of the green, hitting over the green. It's just where there's nothing really wrong with the shot. So I think that's sort of what's a little bit frustrating.
Well, the Open will obviously have a major impact on the economy here, and in particular golf tourism. Today it was announced that a new championship links course will be built here on the north coast. Daniel Duffy has the details.
With the Open Championship upon us, many are getting into the swing of things and trying the game of golf. The world's oldest major will attract visitors from across the globe. The impact of the Open in 2019 was huge for golf tourism here, and this time around it is expected to be even greater than before.
Last season was the most successful season in terms of golf tourism in Northern Ireland. There was an estimated economic impact of just over £86 million into the local economy, and that is from visitors coming to Northern Ireland with the primary reason to play golf here. Looking back at 2019, that was around £52 million, that figure. And then the number of visitors has also increased. So the first time we had over 20,000 visitors visiting in a year was 2019. Last year we had just under 29,500 visitors. The biggest market will be the US market that's coming to the island of Ireland to play links golf. And an itinerary will then have a lot of other courses that'll fill up their itineraries. And I think people coming in and seeing that the quality of golf extends a lot further than our championship links is great for us to see.
The Galgorm Collection has pledged £30 million to build a new championship golf course 20 miles from here in Bellarina. It would be the first championship links course built in Northern Ireland in over 100 years.
The economic benefit for this is, it's in the region of doubling the number of links tee times in Northern Ireland, and ultimately all the bed nights and everything that goes with that for the surrounding area and further afield. So look, this is about a collected effort from government and private sector to achieve something that will ultimately bring huge job creation, significant investment, and ultimately help us in the world stage to promote this part of the world to get more people to come here.
Ardglass Golf Club in County Down is one of the courses that has benefited from the footfall of golf tourists. The impact of the Open coming to Northern Ireland can't be underestimated.
2019, we all realised it was going to be slightly busier, but to say it was a shock would be an understatement. It was much busier than we all anticipated. The impact that it had has been colossal here in Ardglass, and the amount of extra income that it has brought and what it has allowed us to do with that income and reinvest it back into the golf course and to the clubhouse here.
Golfers from across the world expect to be looked after when visiting courses. Ardglass has invested in redeveloping an old 17th century cottage on the course. Once a home, but now a halfway house.
It's one of the investments that we've done because that's what these guys expect. They have their halfway houses at home and they're really popular places. It offers everything that you need. You can get your Guinness, you can get your bottle of water, you can get your sausage roll, you can get your sandwich. So it's a really nice feel factor, and it's nice to keep that traditional feel to it. The people lived in that many moons ago, and now it's used as our halfway house. So it's very exciting.
There may only be one Open champion this year, but Northern Irish Golf is in for a major win of its own. Daniel Duffy, UTV Live.
Well, you can get your Guinness and you can get your nice Northern Irish weather as well, because as you can see, the rain has greeted us here on the first fairway. And just to give you an update on the scores here, Matt Fitzpatrick is now leading on 10 under. The cut looks like it's going to be 2 over. Shane Lowry is 2 under through 10 holes. Rory, of course, finished on 3 under. Tom McKibben on 3 over, Darren on 6 over, and Padraig Harrington on 9 over. All look to have missed the cut. Still some golf to be played here before it is confirmed that the cut is 2 over. And of course we have a full weekend to look forward to. Can we get another Irish winner? We'll have to wait and see.
Yes, Ruth, keep that brolly handy live at Portrush for us this evening. Thank you very much indeed. OK, time now to take a look at the headlines making tonight's ITV News at 6:30.
Yes, here's Charlene White.
Coming up tonight, heartbreaking and devastating. Tributes to the 10-year-old boy killed in a school bus crash in Somerset. 21 pupils and staff were taken to hospital, some with serious injuries, after the coach flipped over before sliding down a 20-foot slope. Serious water pollution incidents in England more than double, with pressure on the watchdog to do more. And England are through to the last four at the Euros after a nail-biting penalty shootout. Join us for those stories and more from 6:30.
More sport now, and guess who's dry in the studio?
Yes, here's Nathan Hanna. Lucky for him.
What a signing! John Mulholland Motors, sponsors of UTV Sport.
And it's nice and warm in here as well. Well, good evening and hello there. In football, Cliftonville are out of Europe following an extra-time defeat in the UEFA Conference League first qualifying round. After a 2-2 draw in the first leg last week, the Reds were planning to use home advantage to progress, but will now have to focus on the new league campaign.
Hopes were high in North Belfast, but it was a nightmare start at Solitude. Within 1 minute, Jim Magilton's side had fallen behind. The fans then went wild though, as Micheál Glynn grabbed the equaliser from outside the box to make it all even at the break. Similar to the first leg, the Reds then seen red again and were reduced to 10 men after Oran Casey sending off on the hour mark. Joe Gormley then put Cliftonville ahead with this acrobatic strike. But the joy was short-lived as St Joseph's equalised a few minutes later, forcing the game into extra time. St Joseph's struck early again and just managed to hold on to break Cliftonville's hearts. They will now face Shamrock Rovers in the next round, with Cliftonville's attention turning to the league.
Well, there will be 3 Irish Premiership teams in action in the next round of the Conference League. Linfield will face Lithuanian side Zalgiris, Larne will play FC Pristina of Kosovo, and Dungannon come up against FC Vaduz of Liechtenstein. Rugby now, and all eyes are on the British and Irish Lions this weekend. Tomorrow morning, it's the first of 3 tests against Australia. Irish players dominate the lineup, with Andy Farrell naming 8 in the starting lineup. Amazingly, it's the first time the Lions haven't named a Welsh player among the starters since 1896. And head coach Andy Farrell says a lot of thinking went into that selection.
You 100% throw everything into the mix. You know, it's a big responsibility representing this group. First up, this is what we came for, Test match football. It's a big responsibility to show each other how we're going to attack this game. So you obviously take into consideration a lot of things, obviously form, but a big part of that as well is big match temperament, and I think we've got a good few of those in the starting lineup.
We'll have more on the Open throughout the rest of the weekend, of course, including our special UTV vodcast from Jordan Moore and Daniel Duffy, who have spent the weekend in beautiful Portrush. You can catch that on ITVX. That's all your sport for this evening. Goodbye for now.
What a signing! John Mulholland Motors, sponsors of UTV Sport.
From that special vodcast to our latest episode in our series Behind the Screens, which is also on ITVX.
Yes, to find it, click on category, select news and scroll down and choose UTV. Here's a flavour of what you can expect.
I am a content creator online, and that's me.
Imagine you dropped it. I know it's silly to be blowing on leaves while I'm doing that, but it just makes the content that little bit more special.
Looks really good. Now, is the weather going to be kind to all those golfers on the North Coast?
Yes, and the fans heading up. Let's check on the forecast for the next few days. Here's Louise.
Bringing the warm sunshine outside, inside. UTV weather.
sponsored by the Grande Rona R290 heat pump.
Hello there, good evening. We had quite a lot of cloud around today and a few outbreaks of heavy showers through the afternoon. There isn't much change in the forecast over the next couple of days, I'm afraid. Heavy scattered showers through Saturday and Sunday with a few brighter breaks in between the showers. It will continue to feel quite mild, temperatures in the high teens, low 20s. Now today we had a low pressure system push through which brought all of that cloud and rain. We have an occluded front pushing northwards tomorrow, bringing further scattered showers, mainly affecting western areas where we will see the heaviest rain. But the next low pressure system will start to filter in as we move through the weekend, so rather unsettled. Showers should start to die out as we move through the overnight period. It's quite a cloudy end to the day, quite a lot of low cloud over the tops of the hills with some mist and fog across the northeast. Temperatures staying on the rather mild side, holding up at 14 or 15 degrees Celsius, and we have some rain starting to push in across the southeast tomorrow morning. Some heavy bursts there, quite a cloudy, murky start. Into the afternoon across western areas, we'll start to see further showers filtering in, once again becoming heavy and thundery at times. A few brighter breaks across the east. Winds will pick up as the showers push through. You can see them starting to push up towards the north coast into the afternoon with highs of 22 degrees Celsius. Across the rest of Ireland, it's a cloudy, murky start for a few scattered showers to start the day, but heavy rain will start to push in from the southwest into the afternoon, where the winds will really start to pick up, becoming quite strong in places. Temperatures reaching highs of around 20 or 21 degrees Celsius. Into the weekend then, we can expect further outbreaks of heavy, potentially thundery rain through Sunday, rather changeable into the start of next week with further outbreaks of sunny spells and scattered showers. That's the very latest. Bye-bye.
UTV weather, sponsored by the Grande Rona R290 heat pump.
We were just saying, over the weekend, if you're out and about, there's no such thing as bad weather, there's just bad clothes.
The wrong clothes.
The wrong clothes.
Right, and especially in Northern Ireland you need, because it's 4 seasons in one day, nearly every day.
Absolutely, well I'll be back. I'll be back with your late bulletin at 10:30. Hope you can join me then. There's more news online.
Yes, search UTV News. The ITV News continues now with Charlene White, from Paul, from me, from Ruth and all the team up on the North Coast and everyone in the newsroom here. Thank you for watching and have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Good evening.